That is right, second video of the day, because don't forget, your boy is doing 2 videos a day now, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9 out. I normally say that at the very beginning of a video, but the algorithm is going to kill me for doing 2 videos a day, unless I can really get you guys to start getting invested in both. But that being said, you know why you're here, you see it in the title. This is a Magic the Gathering video, and as you know, your boy's bread and butter. One of the main reasons for starting this channel was to dunk on Wizards of the Coast, because I'm supremely unhappy with how they've been handling things like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons for the past 2.5 to 5 years. Well, now, it looks like we see a 15% drop in Magic stock, or maybe not stock, but 15% drop in profit during quarter 2. But there's a little bit more to it, and I might actually have some good things to say about Wizards of the Coast, as shocking as that is. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and let's talk about why a 15% profit drop in quarter 2 for Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, Magic the Gathering might not be such a bad thing. Now, this is from Hipsters of the Coast, one of my least favorite websites of all time, because, I mean, it's pro Wizards of the Coast and has hipsters in the title, and, I mean, is there anything on earth more annoying than hipsters, let alone hipsters and Wizards of the Coast together? Like, that is the worst Dragon Ball fusion of all time. But that being said, let's go through the article because it does have some good things to say. Magic revenue down 15% in quarter 2. Tales of Middle-earth is Magic's second best-selling set. This is, well, from David McCoy 16 hours ago. It'll be a bit longer than that, but it'll probably be about 30 hours ago by the time you read it, but I'm sure none of this information will be outdated. During their quarter 2 2023 earnings call, Hasbro announced that Magic the Gathering revenue was down 15% in quarter 2 2023 year over year when compared to quarter 2 of 2022. They also revealed that Magic's latest expansion, The Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth, is already the second best-selling set of all time. Now, anyone that did not see this coming is insane. You're dumb. How could you not think that this set was going to kill? Now, did I want it to fail because of how I feel about Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering and, frankly, modern Lord of the Rings? Absolutely. I wanted this to fail incredibly hard, but I knew that was a pipe dream. Wishful thinking. Wish upon a star and then have your heart broken when God does not listen to your cries and your pleas. That being said, we all knew it was going to be a success. It was a success, and not only was it a success, but it was the second most successful set in the history of Magic the Gathering, all because of one name. The Lord of the Rings. I mean, that name has a built-in fan base, really generations of fan bases, that will buy these cards simply because it has the Tolkien name attached to it. Then add to that, people who play Magic competitively, people who collect Magic in general. You've got whales out there that know the ins and the outs of treating Magic like a financial card game Wall Street. I mean, there's so much going for Magic the Gathering in general when it comes to making money. Just to slap in the name Lord of the Rings was obviously going to make things 10 times better when it comes to the financial side of it. Now, the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth is not part of quarter 2. The revenue for that is going to be quarter 3. So when it says that Magic revenue is down 15% in quarter 2, that by no means means that the Lord of the Rings set was a failure. No, if anything, we're going to see a massive quarter 3 uptick because of Lord of the Rings. Magic revenue down due to a shifting release schedule. Hasbro has been warning that Magic revenue is projected to be down in the quarter for quite some time due to Wizards of the Coast shifting their release schedule for Magic expansion sets. Now, this is a good thing. I hate giving credit to Wizards of the Coast. I mean, I already did it yesterday on Cassie's podcast, and now I'm going to do it again. But in the effort for journalistic integrity and honesty, this is something I've been asking Wizards of the Coast to do. Product fatigue has been a real thing. Magic cards just set after set after set being released all the time, all these supplemental products. It is so expensive and difficult to keep up with. It also makes the game feel less special because you don't have to wait. Like, it's the same thing as like Star Wars movies. When a Star Wars movie comes out every year, it dilutes the brand. But when you have to wait for it, when they have to like wet your whistle, when they drip feed you a little bit of trailer, then a movie every 2 to 3 years, all of a sudden, you know, Star Wars is special. It's an event. And then Disney buys it and ruins the whole thing. But Disney's not in danger of buying Wizards of the Coast, so that's neither here nor there. The point is, yeah, Magic was an event, and then it just became another product, but they have slowly rolled it back. They had 3 sets this year instead of 4, which is awesome. I mean, I much prefer that. Now, does 3 sets mean lower revenue? Yes and no. So, last year, Wizards released 4 Magic sets in the second quarter of 2022, such as Streets of New Capenna and Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, which produced an average of $130 million each. In the second quarter of 2023, Wizards released 3 sets, March of the Machine Aftermath, and Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. Now, I will say, all these sets are garbage. Lord of the Rings, Tales of Middle-earth, I cannot stand this set. I don't know how people are enjoying it. It's one of the most boring drafts I've been part of for a long time. And March of the Machine and March of the Machine Aftermath are shameless, awful cash grabs that should have just been one set, but instead they split it up to get your money twice, like they do for the final movie and like the final sequel movie in a long franchise. Like, oh, Harry Potter Part 7, Book 7, 2 movies. Twilight, same thing, 2 movies. The Hobbit, oh, 3 movies, even though it's a 250-page book, 290-page book, whatever. That's what March of the Machine and March of the Machine Aftermath was. Just greedy corporate cash grab shit that should have been one set. But that's neither here nor there. Streets of New Capenna was artistically a very awesome set. Mechanically, I don't really remember, if I'm being honest. And Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, couldn't care less. It has to do with both, it has to do with Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, no, I'm out. But here we see they have 4 major sets with 103 million average revenue, and here 3 sets with 128 million. Total operating margin of 37.9% versus 53.7%. Higher royalty expensive, product mix and fixed cost absorption, investment in talent infrastructure. So basically, yes, they made more overall money with the 3 major sets, one of them being Lord of the Rings, but because the Lord of the Rings is such a massive IP, that was a very expensive IP to get the rights to use, so it sort of offsets itself. Like, compare that to the Baldur's Gate, the Dungeons & Dragons set from last year. Well, they already own Dungeons & Dragons. It's the same company that owns Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering, so crossover there, it costs them nothing. They own both the properties, but they have to get the license for Lord of the Rings. And let me tell you, a license for Lord of the Rings, that ain't cheap, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, obviously it may make more money. It may have taken in more money, but when it costs that much more money to just get the license, obviously the profit margin is going to be a little bit different. Despite the fact that releasing fewer sets in the first half of 2023 resulted in a reduced total revenue in quarter 2, Magic's revenue per set did increase in 2023 when compared to 2022. Exactly, so how much they made per set made more money, but there were larger operating costs, which is where the offset is happening. The Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth will be Magic's best-selling set. Hasbro is bullish on Magic's third quarter revenue thanks to Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle-earth. CEO Chris Cox, and yes, let me tell you, if he works for Wizards of the Coast, in fact, he's their CEO, it's more like CEO Chris Sucks Cox, said that Hasbro expects Tales of Middle-earth to become Magic's best-selling set of all time within the next 6 months. Something I can absolutely believe. It is unfortunate that it might be true, but I can still believe it nonetheless. And reveal that it's already Magic's second best-selling set of all time. Magic's current best-selling set was Modern Horizons. Also, a complete nostalgia cash grab garbage set, although this one, there's a little bit of redeeming qualities to it, but it's not something I can go into in this video, because that will turn this into like a 30-minute video on the pros and cons of Modern Horizons, and that's not what this set is. Just note that eventually Lord of the Rings will overtake Modern Horizons, and I guess if Lord of the Rings deserves it more so than Modern Horizons, which is saying something, which made over $200 million in revenue over the course of 2 years. Cox expects Tales of Middle-earth to reach that milestone in 7 months, then continue to sell well as it becomes an evergreen product, which is fair. It will become an evergreen product. There will be people 10 years from now that weren't playing Magic at the time, but have since grown up to learn to play the game and have learned to be Lord of the Rings fans by reading the books or seeing the movies, and they will want these old Lord of the Rings cards. So yeah, this will absolutely be an evergreen product. So what does all this mean? Especially, why is your boy Leon making a video on this? It's just talking about the money being earned from Magic the Gathering and Wizards of the Coast, which is something that your boy usually hates. So why am I excited that they're making money? Well, I'm not really excited that they're making money, but I'm happy about there being less product in 2023. I really am. That is one of the biggest problems with Magic the Gathering, if we want to take the politics out of it. Now, obviously, when it comes to Wizards of the Coast, they have far more issues when it comes to the woke corporate methods that they run their companies, telling white people to get out of Dungeons and Dragons, very, very much doing terrible things like race-swapping Aragorn, and putting just a bunch of political and agenda-driven, psychopathic and sycophantic messaging in their games and the way they run their business. And obviously, I am anti all of that. But I want to keep that separate from what I think is good for the game of Magic, the game that people play, that they pay money for, unfortunately, to have a good time at their local card shop, when they go to Friday Night Magic, when they compete in tournaments, like your boy is going to be doing tomorrow, actually. So, yes, I do think that when it comes down to just the financial side of Magic the Gathering and whether cards are selling, keeping politics out of it is actually something I want to do from time to time. I want to be able to look at the game as a game and not just look at Wizards of the Coast as some greedy corporate woke cash grab company, because that's what all corporations are nowadays. If I'm going to have that standard for Wizards of the Coast and Disney, I'm going to have it for everything. And granted, I do kind of have it for everything, but it hits harder with it being Wizards of the Coast because of what they mean to me, my childhood, and what I love to do as my ultimate hobbies. So I do want to see things fixed, and while I obviously want to see the political side of things fixed, I also just want to see the way the game operates in terms of its production being fixed. I want to see less products. I want to see the products that do come out being well-made products that everybody can love. Now, yes, again, I've told you guys I have issues with the Lord of the Rings set. I think that it is very much a predatory set that is taking advantage of Magic the Gathering players and Lord of the Rings fans, and frankly, there's a lot of crossover between the two, but just because it's not my sort of thing, just because I don't think it's that great of a set, or that everyone is overhyping it, or that, Wizards of the Coast is preying on Tolkien fanboys that know nothing about Magic the Gathering, doesn't mean that it is without merits. Now, something like the upcoming Doctor Who set, okay, I don't know, I've said before, I'm getting real damn tired of crossovers in Magic the Gathering. Magic should be able to hold its own with its own IP and not do all these damn crossovers, but whatever. It's a supplemental product, and supplemental products those are getting out of hand as well, but lower volume of product while people buying more of the existing volume, that is a good thing. I hope that made sense. Let me try and reword that just in case that didn't work. Them producing less sets while people buy the sets that are produced means usually better quality, more bang for your buck, and just less oversaturation of the market. I want less saturation so that Magic has a longer lasting shelf life and feels special, so things feel like an event. Love or hate the Lord of the Rings set like I do, hate it. It did feel like an event, and I couldn't help but be happy for all the individuals that did, in fact, get some joy with it. I also thought that they were pathetic and sad for falling for this nonsense, but it's still nice to see people happy. I guess your boy Leon's growing a bit of a heart in his old age, but those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on Twitter where you can find me at BoltTheWord. And please do subscribe. I am a nerdy news channel, now doing 2 videos a day, always about nerdy subjects, except for when they're not, since I've been doing some just straight up political stuff as of late, but even so, it's all here in the nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.